Welcome to episode 300 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John, and I am joined by Ryan and a whole bunch of other gentlemen.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games. We've recently picked up games we're currently playing, and we celebrate 300 episodes of the show in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
Might want to specify there's no Inflation Deflation Challenge, but we do have three amazing guests that have been with us along that journey. So we got Barry Carenza, Darren Hupke, and John Roo joining us today. So, guys, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is going to be our first video test. So if you're listening to the episode on audio, you could go to YouTube and see if we actually were successful with our video test. If we weren't, then you're just going to see audio on there. Either way, you win, right? You get to listen to the Game Deflators. So it's good stuff. So you can find the Game Deflators on the GameDeflators.com. Our currently under construction website, I think is how I'll put it. I don't know if I shared it with you guys, but we've revamped with the new branding. Homepage is essentially done, and then I'm going to start moving into other areas. So it's been a nice little fun activity last week. You can find us on social media at Game Deflators on X, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. I already mentioned YouTube. You can find us there. And you're listening to a podcast app on a podcast application. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. All right.
Yay. Awesome.
Man.
All good. Congratulations on 300. That's crazy.
Yeah, thanks.
That's a lot of episodes, man.
I know it's been a long time coming. I never thought that we would make it all the way to 300 episodes. And thank you all for being on a bunch of those episodes with us. And
yeah, it's always a pleasure.
To the audience for listening for 300 episodes. There's not a million of you yet, but give us another 300 episodes. We'll see what happens.
Well, let's do a little formal introduction for people that are watching and maybe haven't seen or heard the voices and seen the faces before. So I'll kick it off on how I see it on my screen. So Barry, you're on my top right. So kick it off to you first. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Barry Carenza, and I've had the distinct honor and pleasure of joining you guys for many episodes. And again, as John said, congratulations on 300. That is awesome. If you want to follow me on social media, you can find me at Hawk Hellfire on Twitter, on Fuse, on Blue Sky. And I'm also with Nintendo Fuse, nintendofuse.com. You can find us at Nintendo Fuse social media, where we do our weekly podcasts and do a bunch of game reviews and industry talks, including one with Mr. John Roo, and he did his first ever game, Quest Arrest.
Yeah.
And then I'm also with Premium Edition Games, where you can go to premiumeditiongames.com and get a bunch of physical games for the Switch are available in stock right now, as well as brand new pre-orders for our newest series that we just launched a couple weeks ago for Switch and PlayStation. And you can find us social media, Premium Edition Games, everywhere except for Twitter or X, where it's at Premium Edition 1.
John, you're up, man.
What is up? I appreciate you guys having me again, and I get to hang here with Darren and Barry, which is awesome. My name is John Roo. I run a development and publishing company. It's a small one. We do like indie and some licensed stuff. Trying to dip into doing more modern console stuff lately, but mostly focused on physical retro consoles. Just glad to be here hanging out with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, man. And yeah. Darren, you're up.
Yeah, I am Darren Hupke. I've been writing some books called 32-Bit Library. They cover like the PlayStation library and just different chunks that are all curated by like publishers or themes and whatnot. But now I've been kind of spinning that out because that's not enough content for me to make and things for me to do. So I do a podcast as well, Pixels and Polygons. I've had John on the show as well. I think one's aired. Yeah, we had one air with you, and then I have another banked one coming up soon. And yeah, I'm just big gaming nerd, big gaming fan. And as I've growing older, I'm just trying to find ways to kind of stay involved and stay around them. A lot of different writings and things like that I've submitted to different websites. You can find a lot of my stuff on social media at Darren Hupke on Threads and Blue Sky, Instagram, stuff like that. And then like the umbrella, I'm trying to corral like everything that I have been doing, since it's like all in different formats, is like under like my Patreon, patreon.com/Darren Hupke. A lot of free stuff there. It's not really meant to like, embezzle people out of their money or anything. It's just trying to have a centralized umbrella where I can kind of put all my writing content, but also the podcast stuff all in one kind of shell. So that's kind of what I've been working on.
I don't know if you did try to wash or embezzle your money through writing, nobody would suspect it.
Yeah, I don't
Just
know if
saying.
anybody would buy it either, though. So yeah, step one.
And
Buy.
John, we can find you at the Retro Room, right?
Yeah, the retroroomgames.com and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I have all the normal social media sites, I guess.
Well, thanks again, guys. So as always, we like to jump in with what we are currently playing, what we recently picked up. So I will share, since we are on video, hopefully. This was my pickup that I had. So I got Fractured Butthole. Yeah.
It's a good game.
One.
I haven't played it yet. I was almost done with Stick of Truth and then moved. I was telling Ryan, I think on last week's episode, I moved to a new house and then I never picked it back up and just forgot for some strange reason until Snow Day came out. And then I picked up Snow Day recently as well. So
Did Obsidian make that one as well?
this one is, let's see, I don't know. Ubisoft, Snowdrop. Yeah, it just says Ubisoft and Snowdrop on the back.
I think the first one I think was made by Obsidian. Am I wrong? Am I just making that up?
I don't know.
I don't remember, but I think the first two were made by the same team. But Snow Day is a very different game.
I was wondering about it. It looks
Very
way different.
Apparently, Snow Day is not good. Yeah, apparently Snow Day is not very good. So
Damn.
It's a great premise.
Obsidian Entertainment did Stick of Truth.
Oh,
Okay.
Darren wasn't making it up.
Oh gosh, I didn't want to say the first thing I'm saying be something way off base.
Hey, look, I said Zendikar instead of Xanarkin on your podcast, so I think
okay.
yeah.
All under the umbrella.
Yeah, Ryan, I don't think you caught that when he was asking me about my favorite character or something. I mentioned Titus, however you want to say it, on Final Fantasy X, and I mentioned his journey to find Zendikar. I'm like, wait a sec, that's not right. And we both like correct each other mid podcast, like, oh no, it's actually Xanarkin.
It's fine.
Yeah,
They should have Zendikar. You need some planeswalkers in Final Fantasy.
I would agree. Yeah, I would definitely agree on that. All right, so that's my pickup. Ryan, I'll pass it to you next.
So I got my first amiibo. I saw that there was like some big restock on a bunch of amiibos that were really popular and had been hard to find. So I got my boy Mr. Game & Watch, and it's pretty cool. I didn't realize, but he comes with like 3 other different standee poses for him that you could change out. So I was like, John, take this STL files, print me out some extra bases so I can display all 4 of them, please. And then
doing his dirty work of printing.
Yeah. I've never delved in. I would love a 3D printer, but not yet. Maybe one day. And then the other thing, I didn't see the email, but just midday, I think it was like last Thursday or Friday, I was scrolling through like my Google feed and I saw an article for a limited edition like pizza box cover for the Playdate. So I went in and I picked that up. Just another excuse to bust the Playdate out. I haven't used it in a while, so I've been carrying it around, and I even busted out one of the games that I haven't. It came with like a season of like, I think it was like 12 or 24 games, and I never even opened all of those and played them. So I've been checking those out this week. One of them, Inventory Hero, is actually really fun.
Nice. Barry, kick it over to you.
Yeah. So one of the pickups I just recently got was. I have a full Sega Saturn US library, but there's always been one title that has eluded me, even though it's some people might consider it, some people won't, and that is demo discs. There's some demo discs out there, and there's one in particular called Sega Screams Volume 2. Volume 1 is very common, but Volume 2, I don't know the full story behind it, but it seems to almost not exist. And while technically it's not needed for a full library, it was just kind of like annoying me that it was like, I don't have it. I know it exists, and I was able to find one. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna grab this while I can because I don't know when I'll see it again. So it's just a weird oddity in gaming, like a demo disc. Why is this rare? But you never know.
I might have that actually.
You have Sega Screams Volume 2, or
I'm pretty
Volume
sure.
1 is very common.
I'm looking at the cover. I think I do have this one actually.
If you do, that's good.
I'll need to check.
If you have a massive wall of games, if you probably have lots of things you don't realize.
It's got to be somewhere.
That's super true, actually. But I do have my demo disc kind of tucked in a corner, so I do know where those are.
If you do happen to have it, that is a rare, very rare.
I'll check.
Saturn item.
Yeah, knowing my luck, it's just the cover itself and no game disc inside.
Well, even the cover, you can probably get money.
Probably, yeah. It's not like I'm going to play it anytime soon. All right, John, let's pass it over to you.
Man, last month or the month before last, June, I got a Switch for the first time.
Nice.
So
All
yeah,
right.
I had never played on a Switch before, and
How do you like it?
it's awesome. Yeah, it's like since I have a daughter that's 2, she takes over my TV whenever she wants. So as soon as I start playing games on there, she comes in there and jumps on me, and so I haven't really had time to like really play video games until I got the Switch. You know, it's like this portable powerhouse. You know, or feels like it. You know, it's not like a Steam Deck or anything like that, but it's still like they put a bunch of older games on there too, which I like didn't realize that some of these classics like are out with HD remakes or whatever, you know, and I ended up getting like Grim Fandango, and I got Gothic, which is something that a lot of people hate, but I like hate myself, so I play it. It's perfect for that. That was like my most recent pickup was the Gothic 1 and 2, and yeah, they're rough around the edges, but great. I've been having a great time with it.
Nice.
You know, it's so easy to buy digital games too. You can I bought the physical versions of those ones, but it's like so easy to go on that hot deals page and just see something for like $3. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna grab that.
So John plays digital. We got to kick him off the podcast right now.
You know, I got a
Just
solid physical collection of PS4 games, and I like will never get to play and 360 games, PS2 games, Super Nintendo games, and I'll never be able to play like the newer ones all the way through because they're just so monstrously huge. You know, it's like, so I have this huge collection of like physical PS4 games that I'm probably like maybe like in my 90s I'll finally get around to hitting the backlog. You know, so. And I feel like I'm falling in that same pit with the Switch, you know, now that I have one. I'm like, oh, I can buy some games, you know?
Well, I mean, you're just getting a Switch now in 2024. You've got 7+ years worth of classic games that you've never played.
All the games, that came out. It's crazy, dude. It's like, and I, you know, for the longest time, I like avoided the modern consoles, and I was buying old stuff. Like I bought a CDI and a 3DO over a Switch, you know? And so I was really experimenting with playing like on old, I guess, bad consoles or what was considered bad consoles. And I finally broke, and I was like, oh, I'll get the Switch. I probably should have done it a long time ago.
Totally worth it. One of the better consoles. Yeah.
Dude, it's awesome.
Darren, we'll kick it over to you for a recent pickup, and then we'll start with you on what you're currently playing.
Oh, rad. Okay. My current pickups, they're not games, but they're game books. Of course, it's on brand for me. But the Metroidvania Chronicles, I don't know if some of you are familiar with that. This was a Kickstarter that I backed that just I had no idea anything about anybody involved with it before I backed it, but now I'm realizing that there's names involved and people that I've seen on social media and all around. So this is cool. I thought it was going to be like a one and done type of thing, but this is just the first book and like what will be a series of them, but just kind of covering Metroidvania like titles, just kind of going over like what made them kind of fun and unique and stand out, and covering like the tentpole ones as well as some indie ones. But I backed it on a tier that got this really cool slipcase that's like a double-sided like artwork, which is really awesome. And nice. I was able to contribute an article in there too, where I gushed over my love of Guacamelee. So I have a little entry inside the book. And then the other one I'll slide over real quick. This massive box is a book inside of it. There's like a collector's edition of there's cardboard inside. Yeah, it's okay. I was there. It's like a placeholder. But the book itself is just like still a massive book. Wow. But this is like covers like all of the like run and gun like shooter games, like Contra and like any kind of like run and gun action game just over the generations. It's by Dave Cook, who's like a comic writer as well. Like that's where I first kind of explored and I kind of found him. But then seeing that in the Venn diagram of retro games and comic books, we both align. So like I always like picking up his stuff. But this is through Bitmap, and they're like too big to hate, and like so big you have to love everything they do, because it's just like really premium and they're really like quality stuff. Stuff I'm super jealous of. But yeah, those are my two most recent gaming pickups, just gaming related and whatnot.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really neat.
Yeah, I love the ammo box. And then one other thing, Darren, so you're going to obviously mention what you're currently playing. I was going to ask this last, but it makes sense to kind of put it in now, and it's going to be your next game that you plan on playing. So we'll say what you're currently playing, and then what's your next game after that.
Oh yeah, okay, I can combo those. The currently playing, like I instantly forgot your question. Currently playing, I picked back up Persona 3 Reload. It's like that re-release or the remake of the original Persona 3, which was already re-released in Fez form on PS2, and then re-released in PSP form as Persona 3 Portable, and then remastered as Persona 3 Portable already just a few months ago. But that's okay. 4 different ways to play the same exact game. It's been really fun. It was out in February, which was just a rough time for me because like in March is when like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out, and that's one of those like drop everything to play just because of my love of Final Fantasy VII. So I went through and played that, and then Euden Chronicles came out, which was like another like Kickstarter thing. It's like a spiritual successor to Suikoden series, which I just loved that. So I like put Persona on the back burner for far too long. But about 2 weeks ago, I finally booted it back up and started continuing on. I think I'm maybe halfway through that game. I love those Persona games. Just they have a really fast and like fast-paced like battle system, but like a lot of really cool like stylish design choices and stuff as well. So like the story maybe not be for everybody, but the gameplay and like the strategy of like, you know, exploiting weaknesses and like being able to kind of do that quickly and everything. This is always really entertaining. So I hope to see this through probably within the next month or so before the next games I'm looking forward to come out. Boom, segue points. I'm looking forward to Astrobot in early September for the PlayStation. Like that's a free game on the PS5. Was that original like or not the original, but the most recent Astrobot game before this, and it had so many just cool nods to like PlayStation properties, and I'm just a big PlayStation nerd, so I'm hoping just to see more of that in this like full like release, like a longer form game and like fun platform and whatnot. But beyond that, really quickly, like The Plucky Squire is a game from Devolver that looks really rad. I've been waiting for this game for a long time, and just last week, it finally got the official release date trailer, which shows more of the game, which just looks super rad about going in and out of like a game and into like a book, and then onto like a broom and like into 2D and 3D. It looks super cool. And then if any of that reveals that I'm a big RPG fan at all, I am. But the Dragon Quest III HD 2D release is coming out towards the end of the year as well. Like that's just going to be really rad. I loved Octopath Traveler and like those recent like Square releases where they've done that like same visual style. So I'm hoping for more of the same goodness out of that. But yeah, that's what I have on the back end of the year. I try and pace myself really slowly. Like I don't want to buy anything new until I know I'm done playing what it is that I'm playing. It does real wonders on the wallet and saves me a ton of money, but I also just don't get to have that really cool giant loft like space with, you know, 17 shelves just crammed full of amazing like wonders from over the years, you know, like some of you may or may not have in your homes. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna buy a new shelf pretty soon.
Oh,
I gotta expand, dude. It's bad.
I
I'm so
understand.
jealous you have room for a shelf.
I actually do have room for a shelf. I'm surprised.
I literally stay generations behind, and then I go thrift shopping, and I find all the games at the thrift shop that nobody else wants because they all have like PS5s now, and like, dude, that's how I've built like these monstrous generation behind collections. It's been amazing, and it's so inexpensive. You know, it's like $2-3 per game, so
That's what I need to do.
it's great.
Yeah. Except Darren, our Goodwill doesn't have games anymore.
I know.
I miss those days.
Ugh.
The sucky part is that everybody on the internet's talking about the new shiny thing, you know, and I don't get to play that for a little while. But
Yeah.
it's still I don't mind.
Well, so John, what are you currently playing?
Me?
Yeah.
Gothic. Yeah, I got the Gothic 1 and 2, and yeah, they're just brutal like action RPG games that I feel like are like critically hated, you know, like they're hated by most people. Right before that, I played through Hogwarts Legacy, which was pretty tight. Yeah, my sister gave it to me for my birthday, so that was cool of her. And yeah, it was a pretty sweet game. I don't know if you guys played it, but
Not yet. It's on the list. My wife just beat it though, and she got I think she 100%ed it. Actually.
Oh wow,
yeah. She's a big Harry Potter fan, so
it was
she took
fun.
a lot of time to finish that one up.
I realized that I would never want to go to Hogwarts. That place is super creepy, dude. Like everything about it is nightmare induced, bro. It's like whenever I was reading the books as a kid and watching the movies, I was like, this is so cool, you know. But as an adult, I'm like, hell no, dude. I'm never gonna go to that place. Invite me, I'll throw away the letter, dude.
I mean, we saw how that went in the movies, though, right? They just kept coming in.
Right?
Yeah, yeah,
So-
Good choice.
bro. I don't know. Yeah, I don't
and then
know how it
after Gothic, what do you got your eyes set on?
is.
Gothic
Dude,
2?
Yeah, Gothic 2 is one, and Risen is another one made by the same company. You know, it's I don't know why I like those games. I played Elix, which is the newest one made by the company, and yeah, it's just these like I said, it's just RPG games for people who hate themselves, man. You have to grind a lot, which I know Darren was mentioning he likes the Dragon Quest series, and that's kind of like a similar but turn-based, but it's kind of a similar concept where you have to like want to grind at the game a lot, and I don't know why it's addicting to me.
Yeah, just got put in that work, and it just feels good. Just getting stronger, and even at the cost of instant entertainment or instant satisfaction, it's still just entertaining to kind of put in that work.
I also like watch movies while I game, so like it's they the grind can kind of be like a back burner while you're watching a movie, you know.
He's over here playing games, watching movies, developing with his toes. Like
Yeah, right.
He's doing all of
That's
it.
why I don't have as much time to like play, anymore, because I'm trying to do like these development projects, and it's like takes up so much of the time, and it kind of sucks because I miss being able to like tank in hours. Since I had a daughter, I'm not able to do that as much either. But like, I remember just like booting up Fallout New Vegas for the 100th time and then putting 100 hours into it. It's like it didn't mean shit. I was just like I have the weekend off, whatever. So I don't have time to do this much.
I got lucky yesterday. I'll go into my pickup in a minute, or not pickup. I'm currently playing, but I'll pass it to Barry next, actually.
So right now I'm playing through a game called Tsukihime, A Piece of Blue Glass Moon, which is a visual novel that from the early 2000s, never released here, never localized, and it finally got a remake back in 2001, and that remake got translated over here and just recently released to the PS4 and the Switch. So I'm playing the Switch version, and I love visual novels, and it's like the third highest rated visual novel on the Switch. So I was like, all right, people are making a big deal of this. Let me try this. Let me see what it is. And it's one of those where it starts one way and you're like, all right, I'm kind of getting into the groove, and the shoe drops, and suddenly it's like, oh no, everything I thought was wrong, and now the opening plays. I'm like, oh, if that opening played, it would have been spoilers. Okay, I see where we're going. Now we're going in a completely different direction, and I'm really enjoying it thus far. So
sick.
I'm been playing through that, as well as Final Fantasy 14. I'm an avid 14 player, and
Cool.
Dawn Trail came out. So I finished Dawn Trail Story. Now I'm just doing that. Talk about the grind of getting every job to 100 now, doing daily roulettes and fate farming, and just having fun with that. And
Do you still log into your Animal Crossing?
Oh, I haven't logged into Animal Crossing in a long time. Once I got that final recipe, I'm like, good, I'm done. No more added recipes. I'm done with this game. But yeah, that is like.
I have a
400
question
hours.
for you for 14.
Yeah.
Have you been playing since the pre A Realm Reborn days? Did you jump on early on?
No, I was a 1.0 alpha player. Played 1.0, hated 1.0, went back to 11 because 11 was just an
I
infinitely
love
better
11.
game,
Yeah.
and then went to 2.0 beta when I was like, all right, I'll give it another shot, and then have not stopped since.
Yeah, my wife and I had the collector's editions for that, like 1.0, and it came with like that birth certificate for your character or whatever. I was just going through the garage to like get some prep space for packing some books, and like I saw that like peek out of my eye. I'm like, oh, of course I hoarded this stuff, and just found that in this 14. Yeah, like I wanted it to be 11 too, and it still is amazing, but I never like stuck to it enough. So jealous of anybody who does love it. I want to be one of those players. I just feel like I just catch it at the wrong time, and I always I come back and forth to it all the time though.
So 14 is very solo friendly now. Like it's very much like you can do a lot of it. It's more like a single player, but there's still tons you can do with friends, and I like that now. I think as an older, when I did 11, I was in my early 20s when it came out, so I was constantly had all this time. I was playing with people, and 11 was a very, very grind heavy game. Like you may have spent an entire day watching your Moogle spin because that's all you could do waiting for a party. And if you got an hour worth of experience, that was a good day. But 14, it's like you could do pretty much anything you want, whenever you want, by yourself. And if you can't, you just put up a party finder and people will join. So it's very, very casual in that sense. Except if you want to do like the ultimate content, I'm not crazy like that.
And Barry, what do you got your eyes set on next?
So next, I am at the end of this month. We've got a brand new Famicom Detective Club game. Never thought I would see the light of day, but that's coming. And Visions of Mana comes the day after that. So those are two big games that I'm very much looking forward to. And then going into September, Darren mentioned Astrobot, which I'm excited for. But of course, a brand new Zelda game is next month as well. So
that's right.
So that's like, all right, those are like the next 4 games that I'm really, really super hyped for. And then there's way more going into the later half of this year too. But it's just like, all right, let's focus on those first. And that's if I'm not forgetting anything else that just magically like, oh, this is now coming out. Crap.
Man, that backlog is something else, isn't it?
It never ends.
Ryan, what do you got? Bug Fables?
Yeah, so I finally bought Bug Fables this week. I got it on the Xbox so that I can follow John's lead and start like trying to stream that game to get some more video content out on the channel. And then after that, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I mean, I definitely am interested in the new Zelda game. That looks pretty fun, and you know that's gonna be right around my birthday. So if I can knock Bug Fables out in a month, which more likely what'll happen is I'll play 5 hours of it and then I'll stop playing it and then I'll finish it, you know, right around Thanksgiving time.
You could take a page of Darren's book, pun intended on that, and play Persona, revisit it. You know, actually finish Persona.
Yeah. One day. I like,
it's like, yeah.
Persona's really fun and it's such a visually striking game. I think, I don't know, maybe next time I try to do Persona, I'll try 5, because I mean I've tried a bit of 3 and I've tried a bit of 4 and they're both really fun, but I couldn't get through them.
Yeah, I had played 1 and 2 on the PlayStation as like a young kid. You know, didn't quite grasp the story, but did kind of like the style of it all. But I did not play 3 and 4. Oh, I guess I played 4 Golden on the Vita for like a little bit, but didn't really invest too much time. But 5 essentially was my first time back into it, and Royale, when that was out, platinum trophied that, like 100% of that game. Like I was obsessed over that. So that's now got me excited to go back and play the rest of them. But I do think like the story and pacing of 5 like is maybe more new player friendly than 3 or 4. So like, and it's also the most recent one. So there's more like, you know, quality of life type things in it that I think help make it more enjoyable. So I would say for sure, at least try that one out if you've like considered giving it a shot. If not, you know, it's just not for you, maybe, you know.
They did put a lot of the quality of life stuff in Persona 3 Reload as well, which is nice.
That's true, yeah.
The biggest thing that like throws up a barrier for me is just like I don't have it in me to just like sit down and just like go through the game willy-nilly. Like I know that there's like all kinds of guides and structures and like this is what you should be doing with your time and stuff like that. So I get into like, all right, now I've got to read about what I'm gonna do this week, and I have to do this week.
Just play
check that. Just check that out of your brain, and like, it's going to be enjoyable no matter what you do. Like, and if you don't find the joy in it, then that's totally fine. Then you can move on to like the next game you want to play. But like, yeah, because that's too much of a shackle, too much of a weight to drag you down and all that stuff. But you're gonna get something wrong. You're not getting the quote unquote perfect story, but at least you'll get your story from the choices that you make and everything. So
the only thing I would say is if you play Persona 5 Royal, just make sure to max your affiliation with the doctor that comes in and into the school, as well as Kasumi. Because if you have those maxed by the time you get to the end of the game, you actually unlock a brand new chapter. Everything else, it doesn't matter. It's superficial.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like if you don't do those things, then the Royale content you never get to experience.
You never get to
play Persona 5, and it's like, well, then what did I buy? What did I pay money for? Oh, I got to start all over and not miss these things apparently. But that not being a warning to scare you away. Just play it, enjoy it. Don't use a guide. Just make your choices, and it's still fun.
And it's so easy to do. Like they give you so many chances to max those. It's not like it's, oh, if I don't do it right now, I'm gonna lock myself out of that content. Like you have to actively go out of your way to purposely not talk to them and not do stuff with them to really screw that up. So they give you plenty of options.
Well, I will definitely. That's one of the ones I've got a whole list of games that it's like maybe once I get a PS5, I'll try checking this game out because it'll be the latest, greatest, and I'll jump into it if I haven't decided to already pull the trigger with what I got.
It's on Xbox and Switch as well, so it's
Yeah.
It's
So
remember
maybe Switch
Persona
would be better,
5
'cause then they
is
can
a
take crap
PS3
with me.
game. You know, Persona 5 is a PS3 game. So
Mhm.
it's not like it's I need PS5 to play the latest and greatest version of it. It's even Royale, which was a PS4 game, it runs fine in all the systems.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right, so jumping into mine, I actually replayed the first half of Medium or The Medium on PS5. So Ryan, you obviously know I played X amount, was streaming it, and then like part 6 of my video just didn't record. So I had to go back, replay the whole game because there's no chapter selection to then start recording and finish up that section where I ended. So I jumped in yesterday about 2 hours or so. So the section I had to replay on video is about 3 hours of gameplay because you're trying to figure out the puzzles and all of that stuff that comes with it. Banged all that out within like an hour and then finished up my next section in 45. So it's kind of nice. And then I'm actually playing Absoloth End of the Gods on PS5. So it's a Viking horror game set in a futuristic setting with like AI trying to control you. It's super weird. Still not fully grasping the story, but I'm about maybe an hour into that game right now.
Sick.
Yep, trying to play all the unknowns. That's kind of my goal.
Those were 2 games I'd never heard of in my life until the minute you said them. So yeah, that's cool.
I'm surprised you hadn't heard about the Medium because that one was like the split view where you had the girl in like the normal world and then she's in like this other like.
You're right.
know,
I
other
do
world.
remember that one now. Yes. That's like maybe 2 years old, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. So, all right, let's kick it off with our first discussion topic here. We got a few. So, our least favorite video game console from Sega, Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. If we have any crossover, feel free to jump in on that. I mean, feel free to jump in general, but if it is your least favorite as well, then by all means, add on. So I'll kick us off and say Nintendo Wii on Nintendo.
What?
Least
That
favorite?
Wow, really?
Look,
Get
it was
out,
between
John.
between that. Hey, look, it was
Starting with
between
the
that.
edge, right away.
Yeah, right away. Look, it was either that or N64. So,
Wow.
I mean, you make
What?
your choice. Yeah, exactly.
For N64, you know that there's other choices.
Hey, look, we're all about
He
controversy.
just
on this
came in and
podcast.
just
Plug
dropped
your computer and
gasoline on
leave.
the floor, lit the match, and then he's gonna walk
I
away.
can't do this anymore.
I will say though, I have a ton of Wii games. So here's my reasoning. All right, out of the big 3 that had released at that time period, it
Mhm.
was the worst console. We could
Mhm.
say graphically, right? Easily the worst. All the shovelware was being piled onto that console. Every normal version game that was released on PS3 and Xbox 360 was a, generic, weird motion control version that was released specifically for the Wii.
That's
So
not
you
entirely
weren't getting,
true.
I mean, not every one of them, but there was a lot of motion controls tied in on those games. So you had superior versions on PS3 and the Xbox 360. The Wii got not the best quality either. And then the control. I'm not a big fan of the control on the Wii. It would be my least
Resident
favorite.
Evil 4 on the Wii, John? That's a
Oh
that's
yeah, that's a
good
great version.
I have Resident Evil 4 on the Wii. Have I played it? No, not yet.
Oh, that's so good because of the aiming.
Mhm.
I think the Wii. I think your points are not invalid. They're your points. Like we're not changing opinions
I
here.
said least favorite. I didn't say it's the worst. I just said
Sure.
least favorite.
But I'm instantly taking it as a personal assault. So to me, like 100%, like with the Xbox and PlayStation out at that time, it definitely was not the leading console for me. But like I accepted the Wii as like this companion console. So like I had my main, quote unquote, main console that I play on, and then when those Wii exclusives or those unique Nintendo experiences that you knew were going to come from Nintendo came out, like that's when you dust off the Wii and everything. But I found myself not actually really dusting it off that much. There was always like something kind of fun, always coming and going on the Wii for me. But I get what you're saying, like like especially from like a mainline content standpoint, like those AAA releases that were getting versions on the other consoles, like they either weren't coming there or they were having like a modified version. But
Yeah.
that's why you trust Nintendo to put out their content, and that's nearly enough to satisfy most people.
And look, I'm not going to say Virtual Boy because that's the most obvious answer, right?
Virtual
Like,
Boy was
my answer.
amazing.
well,
My
there,
answer
okay,
for Virtual
that's
Boy,
Barry's favorite.
I love my
stand
Virtual
it.
Boy.
I can't stand it. It hurts my head.
Love
Yeah,
my
that was my
I-
thing too.
I get dizzy easily, you know.
Yeah.
So
But
Yeah.
you have to remember the Wii also had some of those versions of the games, like Prince of Persia, for example, Forgotten Sands, was actually better on the Wii. It had new powers, it had new story elements, new levels, and it was actually the better version. It wasn't as pretty, but it still was a better game because a lot of those games were developed by a different studio entirely. And it's like one of those cases where like Aladdin on the Super Nintendo versus the Genesis, same name, very different game, different
Mhm.
developers. You had that in this generation with the Wii. So there
Now,
are
see-
some really good bangers that people forget about. And there's
This is-
shovelware in every system. I'm sorry, 360 and PS3 had plenty of shovelware.
Yeah, but we know the Wii had some shovelware. I mean, there is some shovelware on that console.
Just because
that's
you haven't played My Fitness Coach doesn't mean it's a bad game. Like it's
Exactly.
hey, that one's still at Goodwill.
That-
Find it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You could probably find it tenfold everywhere. That's the only console I could think of where I could walk into a Big Lots and find like a combination pack of Wii games. You know, like, oh, here's like Wii game random set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shovelware games kind of
set
logged in.
games.
Yeah, the carnival
Those
set
like
games, yeah.
all over. I was like, how
Oh,
many
right.
of these are there?
But
And look-
that said, Barry, the Wii is actually, funny enough, the second most games that I have in the collection. So you have PS2, and then I have Wii as the next one up.
Well,
So-
I mean, the Wii definitely had some lows. There were definitely some games that forced motion controls that did not work on the Wii. Those are the shovelware, and 100% agree. But the
Yeah.
highs that the Wii had were higher than so many other systems. Like Darren mentioned about Nintendo's experiences, of course, like their curated collection. But you also had some fantastic exclusive, or at least exclusive at the time, third-party support.
Mhm.
You know, Zack and Wiki is phenomenal, and you had Muramasa, the Demon Blade, and Fragile Dreams, and of course the Operation Rainfall 3, which Xseed had to bring over 2 of them with Last Story and Pandora's Tower. You had
The Last
so
Story was
many
great.
classic
I
bangers.
own every single one of those that you just mentioned.
How about that
Good.
Mad World?
Yeah.
Got Mad World action.
Yeah,
I like-
Mad World. Yeah.
Mad World was amazing.
All right,
I like
guys, I'll
the-
change my opinion and I'll say N64. Let's restart
No.
the conversation.
No, holding again.
You know,
And
Nintendo is
64.
always good at introducing people to gaming. It's good for casual gamers, and that's what I always liked about the Wii. Was like I was like it's like a gateway. You know, it's like you can get somebody who doesn't normally game started gaming. You know, so I always like that. It's like, hey, you want
Oh,
some
yeah.
drugs? Come over here and try this Wii. You know, it's like,
Well, I could go either way depending on where you're at.
I mean,
but yeah, Nintendo's good at that in general, though.
I mean,
So-
just I was gonna say, just in general, in terms of positivity, what the Wii did just with Wii Sports for like retirement homes
Yeah.
and physical therapy and stuff, no other system in the history of gaming has ever done, and that is monumental. Even in terms of like not for a hardcore gamer, but what it did for people. It's like Animal Crossing New Horizons during the pandemic. What that
Mhm.
game did for people cannot be understated. Like that
Mhm.
helped people in ways other games haven't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's cool.
Pokemon solved racism and world peace with Pokemon Go in like 1 week.
That's
I mean,
great.
It did.
What I want to hear yours, Barry. What's your Nintendo system that's least favorite? Because I want to see if we're on the same wavelength here.
Oh, for Nintendo, I have to go with the Wii U. And the reason I went with the
we just
Wii
became
U,
best friends.
and the reason I went with the Wii U, all right, I love the Wii U. I absolutely love the Wii U. And when I say it's their worst, and I love the Virtual Boy too, it's just because I
right there.
feel like Nintendo carried that system. They proved that they can carry a system, but obviously it failed, and it failed for a lot of reasons. Marketing was a big one. The forced gamepad into third parties that didn't know how to use it, so it just became a mirror of the TV, especially after the post-launch titles when developers cared. And then when the sales weren't there, they said, why should we care? And even like exclusives like Rayman Legends became multi-platform. And then, of course, there's 2016, which I will always point to as one of the worst years as a Nintendo fan in the history of Nintendo fans, because nothing came out. Like, it was such a terrible year, dying for the NX to come out. And no other system has had that ever. Like even in transitional years, like 2001 wasn't the greatest for the N64, and the GameCube saved it in the end. But it still wasn't terrible. We still had some good games. Like Wii U just they were trying so hard, and you could tell they were frustrated that nothing they were doing was sticking, to the point that they were able to maximize that with the Switch and do a lot of deluxe versions. And now suddenly people love the games that they missed out on, like 3D World and New Super Mario U, and of course, Xenoblade X, which still needs to be brought over. And there's so many great Wii U titles, Captain Toad, that I feel like Nintendo created a lot of great games, and the Nintendo games on the Wii U were top notch. But in terms of systems, it was, in my opinion, their worst.
Yeah, I agree with everything Barry said, but I'll say that the Wii U walked, so the Switch.
Oh, 100%.
Like
100%.
that was like they always tried something unique ever since like post my game. You can even include the Nintendo 64. Like they've always wanted to find their unique controller or their unique way to like interact with the player in like the games that people play. And then the GameCube was like, hey, what's a happy medium here? But then obviously they go into the Wii and just blow it all open. And the Wii U was just completely unique and special. But like it almost was like maybe they had the idea for the Switch then, but were either just couldn't functionally and fundamentally do it yet, but they still wanted to like see what that concept would look like. And it was like this trial to get to where it became with the Switch and a truly like portable, but also home-based like system and everything. So great.
Makes you wonder about that Switch too, What's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
happen? What's gonna happen?
Look, the Wii U got us Earthbound beginnings. Like they got them to go back and give us an English localized version of the first Mother game. That shows how desperate they were to get people to buy the Wii U. So that's why we don't have Mother 3. They need another desperate situation for them to finally say, okay, we're going to give you what you want. Here's Mother 3. But again, it's not a bad system. There's a lot of great games for the Wii U, and there's a lot of unique stuff that you can only play using the gamepad. And even ports and deluxe versions, it's not the same experience. But it's just without a doubt, I think their weakest system in terms of everything, like just sales, impact, even game delivery overall. It only had 4 years, and that fourth year was 2016, 2017 were nothing outside of Breath of the Wild. And there's some missteps. Star Fox Zero had such huge potential, but boy, did I get sick playing that, going back and forth. Like, get rid of the damn gamepad and that game would have been great. So a lot of missed potential.
Hey, but you at least get Devil's Third.
I never actually played a Wii U, like not even once. I haven't even touched one. I've been meaning to buy one because like I've heard that they're a lot of fun, but
you can get a lot of the best games on the Switch now.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I still would like to eventually grab one just for the collection of consoles that I have. But
of course.
Yep. Ryan, what is your least?
So, of these manufacturers, Sega, everybody knows that's not usually my cup of tea, and I've only ever owned one Sega console. I'm going to go with that. The Sega Game Gear. That battery-eating powerhouse monster.
That's a good one, honestly.
It had a great screen, and it looked amazing. I mean, it was like a Game Boy Advance like 10 years earlier, but like I could only play it for 30 minutes at a time before you'd have to go to Walmart and get more batteries.
The trick was you buy the AC adapter and sit in a corner.
Yeah,
plug it into the wall.
I was like, I wasn't buying an AC adapter, and nobody else was either. This was the battery eater, and that's all it ever was. The amount of time that I owned it and it sat in its box, tempting me with the one Mega Man game I couldn't beat any of the levels on because they were too hard, the Sonic game that I wasn't any good at, and the baseball game that was all right. It just sat there.
Hey, I like that baseball game.
I feel the same way, though. The games were kind of lacking, I think, in my opinion. They just didn't. None of them really grabbed me that hard. So,
I mean, the problem is a lot of portable games at that time were just portable versions of console games. And with something like the Game Gear, where you had to plug it in really to play it, and you're sitting in the corner plugged in playing it, you might as well just get the Genesis or the Super Nintendo version and play it on the TV.
Yeah. Hey, extension cords are your friend, though.
My dad had wired up the AC adapter like in his car, and so like out of the dashboard this like cable would come out and we could just play it there, and then I guess just was connected to his battery. I don't know, it was probably not safe or anything whatsoever, but oftentimes
a cigarette lighter.
Well, no, it like just came from the engine. Like he wired it underneath in some
Oh.
harness. Like it wired up in a way that definitely was not safe. But
Hilarious.
I just remember like there'd be times like we'd have to like go somewhere with him, and he'd like go to like an auto parts store, or need to like buy something, and my brother and I would be just kind of sitting in the car waiting and bored and everything. But because he had this wired up, it was like, oh no, we've got this Game Gear and like 12 games sitting here in the car. Like so.
Cool.
I was out and about and couldn't play the SNES or Genesis at the time, so it was like, yeah, I'm actually going to play this random billiards game that I'm actually finding some joy out of instead of just staring at people walking down the sidewalk. So
We had a very similar type thing when I played baseball years ago in high school, where we would go into like the team, like the coach would drive a few of us in like the team van basically, and we somehow had a TV and an Xbox in there, so we'd have Halo multiplayer for long trips in the van.
What?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it was
No,
pretty
I
cool.
remember go to California GameCube with the screen on it.
yeah.
Yeah. Barry, did you already cover your least favorite, or
That
did
was
you have another least favorite?
that was my least favorite Nintendo. That wasn't one I was going to talk about though.
Okay, what's
But I
one
was
you're
going to
talk about?
say from those, I have to go. I'm going to go with Xbox because I feel a lot of people don't talk about that, and I'm going to say the Xbox One.
Oh my God,
I-
we are literally have this
VCR?
I think the X, besides the name, which is terrible to this day, I enjoyed the original Xbox, especially as someone who loved Nintendo and Sega both. A lot of Sega games went to the original Xbox with Jet Set Radio Future and Crazy Taxi 3. And I had a lot of fun. And back then, a lot of the Xbox versions of games were the best. Like Burnout 2 was the best version on the original Xbox. And then the 360, of course, came out first. It was just a powerhouse. It was my go-to system to go along with the Wii. But the Xbox One, I think I might have played a total combined of 20 hours on that thing, and I have a day one edition. And it just disappointed me. Every game just played better on PS4, in my opinion, or even the Wii U got more play than the Xbox One. There was no console exclusive that made me jump and go get it, and Microsoft's showpiece just was nothing, in my opinion. Like they didn't utilize Rare, and the Kinect was garbage, and I didn't want that, but I was forced to get it at launch, and it just to me is just their weakest release. And the Series X isn't great either, in my opinion, but I think the Xbox One, you go from the highs of the 360 to the market share crash of the Xbox One. It's undisputable. It's just
Yeah, I'll double down on that. That's it's almost like they shot themselves in the foot there, though, because the 360, with that early success and all of the gaming like support that they had, Microsoft then started exploring like, oh, let's get exclusive UFC streaming rights and ESPN branding, and like they started going in these multimedia sides of things. So that when the Xbox One came out, it was no, this is more than just games. We have this entire like market share, and we're going to make our system be a DVR and like all these crazy things. And like had they just maybe just focused on the games, didn't lock out like certain like processing power to like connect forced like abilities and whatnot, like it weakened the multi-platform games. Like there was just a lot of things that they did to themselves, and then that weird botched like branding of like not being able to play used or borrowed games, which yes was misunderstood, but the fact that it was misunderstood and that was what their branding was, like then that got Sony to just come out and be like, hey, here's how you play PS4 games. And handed
That's always the best response.
The best thing about that system, though, I will say, is when they did E3 and they would do shows and they said you can stream it on your Xbox, and they people streamed it, and in the presentation they were talking about Kinect and they were like, Xbox turn off, and it turned off people's Xboxes that were watching the E3 stream live on it. I think that's hilarious. I was like the ultimate troll. Thanks for supporting us. Bye now. Yeah.
They've redeemed themselves a little bit with the Series X4, like Microsoft fans, and I think that of all the systems, like even including Nintendo, their digital preservation is the best. Just having like one constant store and one constant presence, their backwards compatibility improvements and things like that. Like I dream of something like that in the PlayStation sphere, and Nintendo, who yes, with the Wii had this amazing virtual console, has like taken steps backwards, which is kind of odd. But
they're taking steps forwards, I think, with the Switch 2 architecture. But
let's get out of the way. Super Nintendo Switch. Just gonna throw it out there. Not Nintendo Switch 2.
That's my thing.
Super Nintendo Switch.
We'll see how it goes.
But right now, like the only thing that's one of the things that's keeping the Series X a little bit better. But Microsoft as a company right now, with them buying companies and then firing people and closing studios, like
Ooh.
they overcorrected themselves to the point that they became the villains. So it's
Yeah.
it's worse now overall.
And John, how about you? Least favorite console out of the big
You know,
big
it's-
four technically.
It's really easy for me to agree with the Xbox One because I have an Xbox One and have like 2 games for it, and I just never touched it again. It was I had already had a PS4 at the time, and like whenever I got my Xbox, and there was really nothing interesting that I didn't already play or have, and I'm looking at it right now. It's in front of me, and I'm just like, maybe I should turn it on and try it out again. Maybe give it a whirl, but I don't know. It's just not interesting to me.
Maybe Rise, Son of Rome is a good game.
Oh, that was the first game I played on it.
That and the Virtual Boy, I can't get into. I have an Oculus and it makes me dizzy, and the only time that I can really play it is whenever I'm like drinking. So I drink a little bit and then I'll play the Oculus and it won't make me dizzy. Otherwise, like I get this like super car sick feeling, and I get that same feeling from the Virtual Boy. I can play it whenever I'm drunk.
That's how you get away with
Can't you
drunk
do
driving.
virtual-
You slap on an Oculus.
Dude, I'm telling you, I would get like hot flashes and nausea like crazy, but then I would take a couple shots, dude, and hop back into the Oculus world, and it was like perfect. I was like, maybe like, because I've always been scared to go on cruise ships for the same reason. I'm like, maybe I should just say shit face the whole time and I'll be fine.
Yeah, but then you won't remember anything.
Yeah,
Just mildly shit faced.
Yeah, just balance the amount of shots.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law is a travel agent. She always tries to get me to go on cruises, man, and I'm just like, I don't know about that. Sounds like a nightmare.
You get
Be
the
sick
alcohol
on the-
package, you'll be all right.
Yeah, right. I like the food sounds great, but I kind of feel that way about those sort of virtual realities consoles. You know, it's I have a PlayStation VR, and it makes me sick every time. And for some reason, I'm still collecting 3D Blu-rays for it because I want like maybe my daughter will watch them, but it's kind of an oddball collection. But yeah, I was never really into those, and I was excited to get my hands on one. It's really fun to play with, but because of the fact that it makes me want to vomit, maybe that might be my least favorite.
So I guess technically least favorite would be PSVR then.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, out of all of them that I've played, that one really does the trick. Skyrim.
And I mean, they really shat the bed on not doing any backwards compatibility with the PSVR 2. Like the disappointment and the lack of support for both of their attempts into VR has really not been impressive. And
they got rid of the 3D Blu-ray thing for the second one too, which like I have this massive collection now. What the hell? You know,
well, backwards compatibility can't work because the VR1 and the VR2 use 2 completely different technology. The VR2 actually has sensors in the headpiece and uses proprietary controllers, where the VR1 had a camera and it like focused on sensors, and with the camera watched your head. So if it wasn't in the line of the camera, it didn't work at all, and used old Move controllers. So in order for them to make the games work, each developer had to do that, and some developers did convert it to VR2, and if you bought it digitally, you can actually convert it over to the VR2 version. But otherwise, you're like the discs, they will only work with the VR1, and it sucks. But that's why it's 2 different technology.
Yeah. Darren?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of hit all of them. My Nintendo one was the Wii U, so me and Barry started 1 point. Xbox One, me and Barry agreed, 2 points. So I think we're now on the same page there. I just put a cop-out answer for Sega and put the Master System just because of my age and everything. I just didn't play it as much. I don't think it's a bad system by any means whatsoever, but I don't know. I kind of love a little bit of everything. I've never... Like after 360, I haven't really been a big on like Microsoft stuff personally, but I do appreciate some of the things they do. But kind of what Barry was saying with what they've done recently with kind of their acquisition hungriness and then gutting teams and basically IP farming, but also not doing anything with those IPs is just kind of disappointing to see. But yeah, I think the Wii U and Xbox One were the ones that were on my list for the reasons that I kind of shared already.
Microsoft, sell Banjo-Kazooie back to Nintendo, please.
Yeah,
for the love of God, please.
That'd be nice. All right. Well, this is a nice little segue. So your least favorite console, and then what game have you started your children on, or will you start your children on? So I'll kick it off, and some of us might share this. Super Nintendo on my end is what my kid's going to start on. That is what I'll throw in there.
You decided this?
What's that?
He hasn't been like trying to grab the controller out of your hand
I'm
already?
I'm not Pokemon styling it for him. Yes, he is trying to like grab my PlayStation control, but that's because I'm playing it, right?
I think our kids are about the same age too, like 2 years old.
Yeah, he's just under, and then you're just over, I think, right? On 2. Yeah, and then Barry's just behind us a little bit.
Yeah, I'm at 14 months.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're future planning right now. Darren's already integrated this into his kids' lives. Ryan, you can't talk on the subject, obviously. So we're gonna bar you from this conversation. No, I'm just kidding.
Future plans, right?
Yeah. So Super Nintendo for sure. I mean, that's the console I started a little bit on NES, but SNES is where I really got my feet wet in the gaming when I was a kid.
It's the greatest console of all time. Start another war?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's one of my top favorites.
I wouldn't fight you on that.
No, I wouldn't either. I think between that and like PS2 for me.
Oh yeah, PS2 had a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Barry might fight us, though.
Not for Super Nintendo.
Not for Super Nintendo. Maybe
PS2 is overrated.
Oh my god!
Get off of the podcast. Darren is no longer friends with you now.
I love the. Don't get me wrong. I love the PS2, and there's some great games, especially the RPGs. But the PS2 only lived as long as it did because of the Wii and the PSP.
Well, I would argue the DVD player
and the DVD player at the start. At the start, it was the DVD player. At the end, tail end, it was the PSP and the Wii that kept it going.
So there's good reasons that it started. There's good reasons that it ended, and then there was a bunch of good stuff in between. But it's overall, yes, okay, checks out.
No, I think overrated in the sense of just people look at sales. There were some, again, great games. A lot of the games, they were actually the better versions of them were on the Xbox at the time or on the GameCube at the time. But people don't talk about those. They talk about the PS2 versions.
Yeah.
You know? And I'll forever love the PS2. I met my wife playing Final Fantasy 11, and I played that on the PS2 with the HDDD, the whole 9 yards. I was there. I loved it. I just think just because something's overrated doesn't mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's what I heard. I heard that you said it's bad, and I'm now agree with you. Yeah.
Disagree. I think it's just overrated in a sense. It's not a bad system.
So it's a good system.
It's not even my favorite PlayStation system.
So what you're saying is your kids are not going to be playing your PS2.
Probably not.
I think the Super Nintendo is the better starting console. I mean, since I don't have kids, I'll just say I started on Super Nintendo, and I thought it was like probably the perfect intro to gaming to get some appreciation for where things went eventually.
Yeah, I mean, you got like Mario All-Stars, Mario Kart, like a lot of easier to kind of control games, and you got, several buttons on the right and whatnot. I think NES will be a little too tough. I mean, there is NES hard, obviously, for a reason. Super Nintendo, I think, is a nice starting level, and then jumping into, different consoles down the road. But Barry, how about you? You got a little bit of time, right, to plan this out?
I mean, he's already grabbing the controller and stuff like yours, still doing stuff. But I mean, I want to say Atari. I want to say, give him the easy joystick. But because he's already kind of used to seeing the controller, and he's got like that little Fisher-Price controller that plays music, and he'll play through that. I really think the Switch is going to be his first, and I think giving him a Switch with like the NES app and the SNES app and all those loaded up, and just being like, here, open up the app for him, pick a game and play, and like let him get to experience that older stuff. Put an Atari 50 in there and like boot up some games. I think it'll work because it's such a diverse library, not jumping into the more complicated stuff, and then he could grow with it because hopefully the Switch 2 is backwards compatible, and there's such a library on the Switch right now that he could probably play the Switch from now until the time he's 20 and not play every game. Between all the old classic stuff, I mean, like Final Fantasy, pixel remasters on there 1 to 6. That alone is going to take him a long time. Then you got 7, 8, 9 is on there, 10 is on there, 10, 2, 12. Like you can go through all the Final Fantasy games alone and all the Dragon Quest games. Like that's so much time that we look and go, oh, we've done that already. So I think the Switch is honestly like the perfect library, the perfect system. It gives them the portability. oh, take this to school, but only play at lunch kind of deal. Or if I want to watch TV or want to play games on the TV, he could sit next to me playing the Switch portably, playing his own game. And it's stuff we could play together as well, like Mario Kart and Mario Party and stuff like that. So I just think it's the perfect overall system for old school and new school.
Selfishly, I was looking at Super Nintendo from the lens of I suffered, so now you suffer. I'm just
Well, that's when you open up the Super Nintendo app and say, here you go,
Yeah, it's true. John, how about you?
Well, my daughter is definitely reaching for the controller, but she doesn't have any sort of concept of, I move this, the character moves on the screen kind of thing yet, but we're getting there. I would love for her to play any video games because she's a very girly girl at this point, and I don't know where we're headed. She'll be like a gymnast or something like that, or who knows, like I don't even know if she's going to be into video games like I am. I'm going to try to indoctrinate her, but it's
if she goes a gymnast route, you got Wii Fit. There you go.
I don't know what she's going to be into, at all at this point.
My fitness coach.
She'll mess around with my Switch a little bit while I'm playing, but like it just hasn't captivated her just yet. So hopefully soon. But I think if I had to choose, I would choose probably like a Super Nintendo or something that I grew up with like that. But I'm assuming it's probably going to be like a Switch or something like that. Same with what Barry was saying. It's got a very diverse library. You can play the classics on there. It's portable, which is great. Who knows? Maybe by the time she's gaming, there'll be the new thing out, new shiny thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, realistically too, with the Switch, you've got Game Boy, Sega, N64, NES,
Yeah.
Super
You
Nintendo.
get all those apps.
Yeah,
I would let her play any of them.
wonder-
I'd be happy for any of it,
you
honestly.
might be converting me, Barry. Might have to be a Switch.
Yeah, I look forward to the day that he boots up like the NES app, for example, and then is playing and comes and goes, I just discovered this great game called Kirby's Adventure. Have you ever heard of it? And just play like, oh yeah, I remember when that came out. Like,
And then he a week later comes with a broken in half one, and you're like, what happened? Oh, Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
yeah, that's where he gets the Nerf case and all that stuff.
Darren.
Yeah, my oldest is 11, so I've got a little bit of an age gap there. We had that Wii U around the home when she was around, I don't know, probably 4-ish. So I think the math's on that. But she played a lot of Lego City Undercover on the Wii U. Like she loved that game, and it had like a really cool intuitive way of using the map on the gamepad while she was able to play on the screen. I had to help her a little bit, in it, and it was kind of a fun like kid version of GTA type of experience. So it was kind of cool to play through anyway. But then from there, like it's just the iPad generation. Like she does play some games like on like Roblox and stuff like that, and she's kind of growing out of that now. So like I mean I don't know if she'll be into games that much or not. Like I don't want to force it too much. Like I really feel like I'm doing that and she sees like dad is doing that stuff, he loves that stuff, maybe she'll be curious and ask questions and like come around and do that. We had some cool experience at Comic-Con in July. I have been around the comic world for a long time. I used to set up events and signings and all that stuff, so I know like a lot of comic industry folks, and like it's like the coolest parent moment when like I was on a panel for like this crime comic, like comics and crime in comics. And one of the people on the panel on stage, like sees me in the crowd and like sends me a message on Instagram, like saying like, yo, cause like he recognized me and we're friendly and everything. My daughter was just like, wait, why is that man who's on stage and who must be famous sending you a message and seeing you? And like, this was this proud dad thing. So like, I think with gaming, like, I've not pushed any of that on her. I've let her just explore and find out what she likes and what she wants to see. So if one day like she sees me working on the books and she's all like, what's that about? Cool, I can tell her. And then, she might like Google it and see like, oh, wow, my dad has books for sale somewhere. Like, this is so cool. Is my dad cool? No, I'm not. But, still having that unlock moment for her, she can take her own pace. But that being said, my wife and I did get this like a Miu Mini. I don't know if y'all have seen these like little retro like handhelds. I do enjoy these. I mean, obviously emulation isn't perfect, but But loading this thing up, I curated it with just like a list of like my favorite games or like the best games of like these different platforms. And so they've been curious to want to like play it and like steal it for themselves. Because once I loaded it up thinking it was going to be sitting around the house for the family to play, like me and my wife are the ones who played it the most. So it was like, okay, maybe you have to buy a second one for the kids now. I don't know. But this is really cool, like little platform to do that. So I think
That's cool.
yeah, I think over time, like my middle daughter's 9 and my youngest is 6, so I have 3 kids. They all like my youngest is just obsessed with Roblox, and it's crazy to see like the dexterity she has to like maneuver and use like the touch buttons and things like that like on the screen. Like she's way more like advanced at playing games than even her older sisters were with how she goes. So I think for sure she'll be like evolving and growing up into like other platforms and whatnot. So just we'll see what that is, and we'll see what she expressed interest in. And if it's nothing, I'm fine with that. But if it's everything, then cool. I've got a lot to show her, so that'll be rad.
I think it's going to be one of those things where we all have this notion, like we're going to teach our kids, these are the great games. You're going to play the Mario, you're going to play Donkey Kong, you're going to play all these classics. And it's probably like our parents, like you're going to listen to this song on 8-track or vinyl that's great. And you're going to watch these old classic 1960s and 70s movies because they're the best movies, and we're going to show. And we all were like, we don't care. We want to see the newest and the best. We want to listen to our cassette tapes. We want to watch the newest, Terminator and stuff like that. We don't care about that older stuff. And I think it's going to be the same thing. They're like, no, I don't want that. I want iPad or Roblox or, Minecraft or whatever. I don't want that. I just want what all the other kids are doing. And I feel like we're going to get that.
For sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think the funniest thus far, because my son's the youngest of all of us here, but that I'm sure you guys have had it too, that Fisher-Price controller that they have.
The Mario.
With the when you move the analog stick, it plays music, and he'll watch me play, and he'll like take his finger and start moving the analog stick, and he'll look at me angry like, your controller's broken, Dad. Where's the music? It's broken. And he's like trying to take it, like, no, I gotta fix this. There's something wrong with it. I'm like, no, here's yours. He's like, see, it plays music.
Have you done the Konami code on the Fisher-Price one?
Oh
yet?
yeah, you did Konami. Yeah. That's great.
It's a lot of fun.
But it's fun to just watch like that connection. Like this and this are similar, but this one does what I like and this one doesn't.
That's funny.
So I'm gonna mix it up here in terms of order. As far as legacy, what do you want to leave behind in gaming? So whether that's as a content creator, developer, publisher. Ryan, I'll start with you actually.
So, I mean, legacy of 300 podcast episodes is a pretty good place to start. I don't know. I always wanted to try doing like YouTube and stuff. I watched, people in college and everything, and now so many of those creators have like kind of like grown up or moved on. But I'm always surprised at finding new creators that are all different, ages and from all different kinds of places. And I think that, now that we're kind of, I've been having a little bit of video technical difficulty today, but hopefully we get that ironed out and maybe we could start doing some more stuff there. Because the more that I get a little bit older and get a little bit more into it, the less I feel like what you guys were advising with the Persona. You don't have to have all the control on everything and do everything, the full way. As long as you're able to just kind of have fun with it and get what you want out there. And I see people who it's just, a guy sitting in front of a camera and he just sits down and talks about, the same stuff that we talk about every week. But sometimes we don't get to that on a podcast. So I would like to maybe be able to just put out more, just, hey, I saw this thing. This is what I think about this thing. Do you think that's interesting? Kind of stuff related to gaming, because I find myself more engaged in, all of the industry talk and the news and all of that stuff way more often than I'm actually playing games these days. I'm reading, whatever articles on the Google feed or listening to a podcast or watching somebody's YouTube. So I'd like to just maybe kind of be more of a proponent of that and, get some views going on the YouTube too. See how that goes.
Dude, you should do it. Sounds like one of
Absolutely.
those things where you should just jump in.
Mm-hmm. Play the games you like, talk what you like, just be you.
Yeah.
People like real.
And now we're doing video, so we got the channel, right? You gotta step it up now.
There we
Do
go.
more
I know.
video.
already done. I've already been doing this for 6 years. What am I waiting for now?
Right? Yeah, just audio, now video. Darren, pass it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about legacy I want to leave behind. Like the advice I got a long time ago when I was like beginning to write like comics and stuff. Something just fell over and startled me.
It's probably a giant ammo box.
Yeah. No, actually, the ammo box was holding up other books on the shelf. I'm seeing that right now. Okay. But yeah, like the advice I had gotten like a long time ago when I was like beginning to write comics and stuff was like, don't write for like an audience or don't write for what you think people want to read. Like write what you enjoy or write what you would want to read yourself and everything. And like that's just advice I've done with everything. Like the 32-bit library books. Like I am a big diehard PlayStation fan. I buy all these retro gaming books. I love just absorbing as much as I can about the medium and like classics, and like that was stuff from my childhood. There's not a ton of books like that about the PlayStation, and so I figured like I'm not filling a hole for everybody else. I'm filling a hole on my bookshelf for the stuff that I wanted to see. And along the way of putting the books together, taking the screenshots, writing up all these games, that's fun to me. Like those are the games I want to play, and those are the games I love and remember and everything. So like I just want to continue to do this just for me, as long as I can continue to like have the time, effort, energy, health, and financial backings to like get these things done, which so far has been like all good. I just want to be able to continue to do that, and if other people pick it up along the way, awesome. But if I'm able to be like a part of things like this and have conversation with folks who are doing similar things, even better. I mean, that's the whole reason I kind of want to do it. So dream wise, like I would love to like fast forward a few years, and if enough of like the connections and folks that I've met like have maybe pushed me and inspired me to do what I've always wanted to do and like make games, like I would love to be that, because telling stories and writing is one thing, but being able to do that like through like a video game is like definitely always been a dream of mine. Cool. And like GB Studio and things like that have been staring at me, like making it so like easy to like maybe just dip my toe into. So I think like this year or next year, like I really want to make that commitment to just like do that. But at the end of the day, like just put out the content that I think I would enjoy and that I'm doing for me, and never makes it feel like a stress, or never makes it feel like a drag. And if I ever stop doing it, hopefully it's my choice, and I'll just continue as long as I want to be doing it, and hopefully other people can pick it up along the way and find some kind of joy out of it themselves.
Plan of attack, Darren. You and John develop. We go to Barry, who releases it, and then Ryan and I talk about it. The plans are set in motion.
I think we all kind of get that. I mean, everybody who picks up a video game and gets like really into gaming, I think, making game, that's kind of the ultimate dream for everybody. But it's just like, I mean, John, you can tell everybody, but I mean, as a one-man job, it's the impossible thing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I mean, being involved in the world, and that's like, part of, I guess, what I want with my legacy is I have so many ideas, and when you get to a certain point, like some of the ideas might take years, and that's a lot of dedication to have to put into something. And, I just hope to be able to make some of those dream projects that I have come together as far as development and as far as publishing. Like I have things that I want to do, and I have these like goals in my mind that I'm chasing, and like I'm currently in the middle of that. I've been doing it for 5 years, and now I'm like chasing some really big goals, and I just hope to be able to like fulfill those dreams that I have, I'm working towards it slowly, so it's not this impossible task, I now see like a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm like, oh, like, wow, I'm talking to some like cool like things that I like would have never dreamt of being able to do whenever I first started doing this. And I'm working with like people who I never thought would work with me, and it's like, so I see it kind of opening up now, and it becoming like a reality, like things that I want to do that are way beyond me, take a team of people. And yeah, I know Barry is working with like Premium Edition, and there's like a huge team there, and I like that concept of like, we all huddle together, we make this awesome thing, and then we show the world. It's like playing in a rock band, or something like that. That's how it feels. It's like you secretly talk about this thing in the basement and then show the world one day, and you guys put all this work into it. And I always like that camaraderie, and anywhere that I can do that would be awesome.
Barry, what is your legacy?
I mean, I'd love to just leave any type of positive legacy. I mean, this is an industry that I've loved since I was born, and I've just been a gamer my whole life, and I've loved the history of it, and I love the medium, and I love the stories and telling the stories, and it's one of those where I would love to make games. As a kid, I grew up thinking I would love to make games, and I went for computer science, and that didn't work out, and it was just one of those things where I'm happy to be doing what I'm doing, where I can work with developers and get their dream of their game coming out physical and work with them. And I'd love to continue doing that and just helping across the industry bring awareness. But I'm also an educator, and I love teaching the history of games and the history of just the industry as a whole. And I'd love to one day open up a full museum, and I've talked with other curators like that, and working together, and how can we piece together things, and what can we do. And it's a lot of work, but if at the end of the day, regardless of what I do and what I wind up doing, as long as I leave a positive impact of some kind, I will be happy, because this world is filled with so much negativity and hate, and we don't need that. We really don't. And I've met some wonderful, amazing people, including everybody here on this panel, just through connections in the industry, and I've met so many more. And I just want to keep doing that. I want to keep reaching out and branching out and just meeting new people and making new connections. And again, if my time comes and people could say, you know what, I've met Barry at least once and I had a positive influence, or I walked away with a smile,
Oh yeah.
then I'm good enough for that. Like that, then at least I can die happy knowing that at least I brought a smile to someone's face.
Yeah, you've impacted me in that way, man. I mean, you gave me a shot real early in the gig, so.
Yeah, I think I was the first one to talk to you. We did that industry talk and promoted your game, and like that was great. I
It was
love
like an
that.
introduction into the industry, so I was really grateful for that, man.
And again, that's it. That's what I would like to do. I'm not amazing or great in any ways. I'm very limited in what I can do. But if I can do something and leave a positive impact, then to me that's great, especially if it involves the gaming industry as a whole. Because that's it. We just need to come together. We need to work together. And if I've ever upset anybody, I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that I like everyone to be happy, and if I can make it better, I will, to the best of my ability.
I just realized I got parts of what all of you have done. I've got a signed copy of Quest Arrest Complete in Box sitting in a glass case. I got premium edition
Wild.
games in the house. I've got 32-bit library books chilling in the game room. So I just realized that. So
It's awesome, man.
there you go.
Yeah,
Your legacy's in my house.
We appreciate the support.
I think for me, it's Ryan kind of hit on it earlier, right? 300 podcast episodes. I think it's something for my son down the road to kind of just hear hear his dad talking crap on the internet about video games and what he was playing. And, hopefully down the road, revisit some of those titles that I might have been playing or talking about. And, kind of thinking for himself, was it actually a good game? Was my dad crazy? Was he actually not crazy in this title? I think that'd be a pretty cool component in terms of legacy. And,
It's neat,
it's on the internet, right? So it lives forever.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, guys, definitely thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Ryan, I'm sorry I stole the moderation part of this throughout our episode.
You're good.
Yeah. Ryan's camera, I see him like every now and then I see him frozen. I'm like, oh, he's frozen. No, he's moving again.
Appreciate you having me on, man. And
Yeah.
I'm glad,
Thanks for coming on, dude.
been on with Darren and Barry, both awesome dudes. And it's been a privilege to hang with you guys.
Yeah, and congratulations again on 300 episodes. Thank you again for
Yeah,
joining us.
Congrats to you guys. Like, yeah, you're straight
It's
up.
awesome.
Like, it's awesome to do that. And your awesome new logo. Like, I saw that it snuck into the podcast feed. Like, I was scrolling through and I'm like, oh, well, we're spoiling the surprise a little bit here. This is rad. So,
Yeah.
to have done that, y'all, like both of you,
Awesome.
and like the history, like, great job. I know I'm newer to the group, and I'm newer to like meeting y'all, and just only like maybe a year plus into it and everything, but like it's still an awesome feat, an awesome accomplishment, and like just being able to be on the 300th episode to help celebrate with y'all, like great job to you. Like I'm glad you're to be able to do it, and I hope you guys continue to do it for a long time and continue to have fun. Like it's just awesome.
It's freaking
Appreciate
rad, dude. It's an accomplishment.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Go
Definitely
back.
appreciate it.
if you're listening to this episode, go back and check out the other episodes that we've had all these fine gentlemen on before. They are some of my favorites, and go check out all the stuff that they're doing too. John's making games, Darren's making books, Barry's helping put out games and doing his own podcast, and they could all, use your support as well.
And I've actually got them on our YouTube. So if you are lazy and don't want to go through 299 or really 300 episodes, there's a playlist on YouTube for industry interviews, and all these guys are on there. So it's already set up. Yeah. Industry. Yeah, you're in the industry.
We should go back and listen to episode 1 and record it.
Oh God, no! Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, that wasn't even. What's that with Ryan? No, yeah, that was with you, Ryan. Yeah, because it was like season 2, episode 1. Yeah, it was. Before, it was after the dark ages of this podcast. The four tester episodes that I don't know if they exist still or not. So
dig them out.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing.
The vault. Open the vault.
We're good. That vault is open in some earlier episodes. So if you go back and listen, you'll hear it. But guys, thanks again. So you've listened to episode 300 or watched, hopefully, episode 300 of the Game Deflators podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And we've been joined by Barry, Darren, and John. And thanks for listening.